Well, good evening. This short video is to go with a blog from a few weeks ago that was focusing on the concert they've done with the Edinburgh College Concert Orchestra, and it's just looking at some of the pieces that we played then. There's a film music medley, and there's a piece by Mozart, Incline Knack Music, which both feature elements that have been arranged for the tuba and for other brass instruments, with saxophones and things in the orchestra. They wouldn't normally play them. So we're just going to have a look at some of the writing, some of the rehearsal that was required, and a few of the areas that were a little bit tricky, and just the reasons why they were difficult. So we're going to start with the film music starts with the Fox fanfare, which is probably one of the most famous 30-second pieces of music. So let's just have a listen to that to start off with. So the most important notes in here aren't so much the long dum da da dum, but the notes that sort of follow on. So in the fourth bar of that entry there's the crotchet, where you've got, and that note's not, it doesn't feature on the main line, it's accented, so that's probably the most important note out of all of that, where the tuba has that note, and not a lot of the other brass instruments do. So with that dug out, it just gives it that extra bass. And it just finishes that opening line. The short semi-quavers obviously need to be dug out, along with those triplets. At that line, that bar, those last notes. So fortissimo up to tempo. And it's just making sure everything's there, neat and tidy and not too late. So the next bar's got a few rests in them. So the most important notes are those rests, when there's a bit of silence in the part. Everything else is 40, it's loud, it's coming through. So the silence there is quite important. Then we've got again the short demi-quavers. And those notes can really resonate. They're E flats, and instruments in E flat. It's an open note. It tends to be those notes resonate quite well, as opposed to if it was. So it just resonates quite well on the instrument. The key of that one's in B flat major, and it works well because the trumpets are in B flat, so therefore they're in C, the tuba's in E flat, so that's a G major key. And that's what you find with a lot of fanfares and brass centerpieces. So that was an opening number. We then went to the main film music medley, and we started off with the Psycho Prelude, which doesn't normally feature the tuba, but in some of the bars the arrangers put in these sort of stabs. So it starts off with the famous, and that comes back, and all it does is just strengthens up the strings. So you got da 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 da, and every now and then again, and the weight of the brass adds in to that feature. We then got some sustained notes, which is an extension of, I think it's the viola and the mid string register, because the original was scored by Hitchcock. I think it was just strings from what I remember studying it before. And we've got these swells. And it's just making sure they're even was the rehearsal focus there. And before it we've got it's just a bar of that. And it goes back to, and it's making sure as well that these stabs don't get too long. Nice and punchy. Boom, 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 boom. Most people in an orchestra want a rhythmic brass section. If it's just a big noise, it's just a big noise, and if it's in the wrong place, then it's not going to help anyone. So nice and short, nice and articulate. Bum, 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 bum. Was the focus of these notes. And on other ones, it's providing a bed for the rest of the orchestra to sit on. The next section after, there's a lot more on the prelude on the strings, the cycle, and then it was Star Trek was on it, and it's again rhythmic force here. So this opening phrase, the big focus was keeping this triplet rhythm going and across the whole orchestra. It sits well, it's a B flat, so as we've discussed already, it's an open note and then in this case it's a fourth valve note where it's written. So it resonates quite well, and it's keeping the tongue working was what we had to work on, so you can slow it down a little bit. And keeping that sort of accent at the written pace. And a lot of this piece was rhythmic. The earlier part, the distinction had to be between the crotchets and the quavers that are written in these open bars. So they're a little bit shorter than what the other ones are. And again here, the quavers, instead of being triplet quavers, just have to be a little shade longer. So that we know that that's where the piece is heading towards. And the same with the crotchets. And we'll give that last one a little bit of a push because it stops and ends the phrase there. We then accompany the orchestra in the second part. Well, it's no longer accented. We've got a lot of these on it beforehand, and that just comes down a little bit and sits underneath before we've got that little snippet of the tune. Bop, 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 boom. And it's again keeping it all rhythmic, keeping it all in pulse, and keeping it all nice and articulated the way it's written. The next half of it we have and it's just a repeat of that earlier phrase. The next two tunes are written similarly. Instead of providing this rhythmic bass and rhythmic pattern that we've been asked to provide by the arranger or by the composer in the previous sections of this film music medley, we're now providing a solid sort of lyrical bass, and it's something you normally maybe put in the string basses or you put across on another instrument and then pair up with the tuba. So we've got things like, this is a segment from the Lawrence of Arabia segment. And for this, it's just ensuring that it's all there, all nice and solid, and all nice and lyrical. It's got to flow this section, it's a different style of tempo. Instead of having these short broken notes, we've got the same, it's still B flats. And we can be a little bit more expressive, so for example this next bar, I put a little bit of a crescendo in here. And it just builds up to that C sharp now. And it just gives the brass this sort of big section to sit on. Now the last element of the film music melody was probably the most difficult. The reason why it was the most difficult is because it doesn't sit all too well on the instrument, but it's in C major, and the notes sort of sit on the valves a little bit awkwardly. So it's Indiana Jones theme, and we've got not the tune, but a sort of harmony part. And it's these notes like that when we just hit on. So we've got B naturals, E, G naturals, F sharps and the bar. And they sit on the second and third bars as opposed to being open. And it's getting back down to that F natural. It's just a little bit tricky in this part. And to cement that, what I've done was taken it right down in tempo and played it at this sort of speed. And made sure that we're cementing all these notes in. Then it continues a little bit as well. And this phrase, and the ones that follow here, are just a little bit easier to play because they fall on the second valve of the instrument mostly, and open valves, and it just helps with the tuning a little. And this bar is quite important because there's a diminuendo followed by a big crescendo into the main Raiders theme. This is the sort of B part of the theme. Another important notes from what's marked here as 169 is these quavers. So I really need to work out where I'm going to breathe there. I'm still not really properly sorted it, but I would have to breathe a little bit earlier or breathe a bit deeper just to get that diminuendo and crescendo on this bar. It's meant to go like this. And again, this is a really good example of where the tuba's got to be rhythmic, it's got to be a solid bass, because this is the bass line, and it's just got to be all in the right place and all nice and tight. Particularly these notes where we've got a 3-beat note followed by bop bop bop, and it leads into the next phrase. And then we have this forte entry that can really, what I'm going to do is, it's bottom C, and I'll use the third valve there because it opens up a bit more of the instrument for those lower notes. And in this section, it's a case of just keeping it all the way throughout the bar lines, breathing, snatching a breath where you have to, and that's something you've got to do as a bass player a lot, because you're the only one. So that's a little example of how an arrangement doesn't maybe sit quite right. So just to recover that, it was the opening bars here. And to rehearse that, we just slowed it down. Sits alright now that I've rehearsed it, but originally it was just a little bit awkward on the instrument.